My name is Clara Bennett. I am 35 years old. At my baby shower, a pregnant woman walked in and said my husband was hers. I froze. She looked straight at me, calm, confident, even smiling, and said, "That man belongs to me. And I can prove it." Then she pulled out photos. Messages. A document that looked exactly like a marriage certificate. Everyone believed her. My mother started crying. My sister stopped looking at me. My best friend whispered, "Oh my God, he lied to you." My husband stood there, shaking his head, saying, "I don't know her, I swear I don't know her," but no one listened. No one except me. And that's when I asked one question. A question so simple, so small, that no liar could ever prepare for it. Before we begin, please like and subscribe. It really helps this channel and means more than you know. Now, let me tell you what happened. The morning of my baby shower, I woke up before the sun. Not because I was nervous. Because I was happy. The kind of happy that makes you want to hold on to every second before it slips away. I lay there for a moment, one hand on my stomach, feeling the tiny movements inside me. After 4 years of trying, 4 years of doctors and disappointments and silent tears, we were finally here. My husband Daniel felt me stir. He rolled over, still half asleep, and pressed his hand next to mine. "Today's your day," he whispered. I smiled. "Our day." He kissed my forehead and got up to make coffee, just like he did every morning. That was Daniel. Steady. Quiet. The kind of man who never raised his voice, never forgot an anniversary, never looked at another woman. Or so I believed. The party started at 2 o'clock. Our backyard had been transformed, pink and white flowers everywhere, a table full of gifts, a cake with tiny frosting roses. My mother had spent 3 days planning everything. "Perfect," she said, stepping back to admire her work. "Absolutely perfect." My sister Emma arrived first, carrying a gift bag almost as big as she was. Then my best friend Rachel. Then Daniel's parents, our neighbors, coworkers, cousins, nearly 40 people filling our home with laughter and warmth. I remember standing in the middle of it all, thinking, this is what I waited for. This is what surviving feels like. Daniel found me in the crowd. He handed me a glass of sparkling cider and wrapped an arm around my waist. "You okay?" he asked. "More than okay," I said. He smiled. That same smile I'd fallen in love with 10 years ago. Gentle. Certain. Like nothing bad could ever happen while he was standing next to me. I didn't know that in less than 20 minutes, a stranger was going to walk through that door and try to destroy everything. The doorbell rang around 3:15. I didn't think anything of it. More guests, I assumed. Maybe a late gift. Daniel went to answer it while I was talking to my aunt about baby names. Then I heard him say, "Can I help you?" His voice was confused. Not warm. Not welcoming. Confused. I turned my head. A woman stood in the doorway. She was pregnant, very pregnant, maybe 8 or 9 months. Dark hair, sharp eyes, wearing a simple black dress. She wasn't holding a gift. She wasn't smiling. She was looking at Daniel like she knew him. "Honey," she said softly. "You didn't tell me about the party." The room went silent. Not gradually. Not the way noise fades when people stop talking. It was instant. Like someone had pressed a mute button on the entire world. My mother stopped mid-sentence. Emma dropped a napkin. Rachel's mouth fell open. And I stood there, frozen, my hand still on my stomach, trying to understand what I had just heard. Daniel stepped back. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice shaking. I don't know you." The woman laughed. Not a mean laugh. A sad one. The kind of laugh that says, "I knew you'd do this." "Don't do this to me," she said, stepping inside. "Not today. Not in front of everyone." She walked past Daniel like she belonged there. Like she'd walked through our door 100 times before. Then she turned and looked at me. And everything inside me stopped. "You must be Clara," she said. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way." My voice came out as a whisper. "Find out what?" She placed both hands on her stomach. Took a slow breath. Then she said the words that shattered my world. "I'm Daniel's wife. We've been together for 3 years. And this baby is his." The room erupted. "No way," someone shouted. "Is she serious?" "Oh my God, Daniel. How could you?" My mother started crying. My father's face turned red with anger. Emma grabbed my arm like she was afraid I would collapse. But I didn't collapse. I couldn't. My body wouldn't move. Daniel ran to my side. "Clara, listen to me. I have never seen that woman in my life. I swear to you." "Don't lie to her," the woman interrupted. Her voice was calm, confident. She opened her bag and started pulling out papers. "I knew you would deny me. That's why I brought proof." She held up photos first. Pictures of her and Daniel. Together. Smiling. His arm around her shoulder. Her head on his chest. My breath caught in my throat. Then messages. Printed pages of text conversations. "I love you. I can't wait to see you. When will you leave her?" Then a document. An official-looking certificate with gold seals and signatures. "Our marriage certificate," she said, holding it up for everyone to see. "Filed 3 years ago. You can check the date yourselves." People gasped. Someone started whispering, "It looks real." Then she pulled out one last paper. "And this," she said quietly, "is a DNA test confirming Daniel is the father of my baby." That was when the shouting started. "You disgusting liar. That was my father. I can't believe you did this to her. That was my mother. Get out. Get out of this house." That was Emma. Daniel kept shaking his head. "It's fake. All of it. I don't know how she got those photos, but it's not me. I swear it's not me." But no one was listening. The woman stepped closer to Daniel. "Please," she said, her voice breaking. "Just tell them the truth. Tell them you love me. I've waited 3 years. I don't want to raise this baby alone." For a moment, just a moment, she looked so real that even I felt doubt creep into my chest. What if he lied? A voice whispered inside me. What if all of it was fake? What if the past 10 years meant nothing? I looked at Daniel. His face was pale. Tears streamed down his cheeks. He kept repeating, "I'm innocent. I'm innocent. Please believe me." But his voice was desperate now. Broken. And the woman kept presenting more proof. More photos. More messages. More reasons for everyone to hate him. For nearly 15 minutes, the chaos continued. Accusations flying. Daniel defending himself. The woman crying on cue. And I stood in the middle of it all, completely broken. Then, in the middle of all that noise, I remembered something. Not a big thing. Not a dramatic thing. Just a moment. We were 25 years old, sitting on the porch of our first apartment. It was small and cheap and the paint was peeling, but we didn't care. We had each other. I was crying that night. I don't even remember why anymore. Something stupid. A fight with my mother, maybe. Or stress about money. Daniel didn't say much. He never did. He just held my hand and waited until I was ready to talk. Finally, I looked at him and said, "How do I know you won't leave me someday? How do I know you won't find someone better?" He didn't laugh at me. He didn't say, "Don't be silly." He just squeezed my hand and said something I never forgot. "I can fail at everything in this life," he said quietly. "I can lose my job. I can lose our money. I can lose this apartment and every possession I own. But I will never lie to you. I will never betray you. That's not who I am. That's not who we are." I asked him, "How can you be so sure?" He looked at me straight into my eyes, the way he always did, and said, "Because when you love someone the way I love you, betrayal isn't tempting. It's impossible." I came back to the present. The shouting was still happening. The woman was still crying. Daniel was still begging someone to believe him. But something had changed inside me. I looked at Daniel again. Really looked at him. Not at the situation. Not at the so-called proof. At him. And I saw it. The same eyes. The same fear, not the fear of being caught, but the fear of losing me. The fear of watching his whole life disappear because of a lie he didn't create. He wasn't looking at the woman. He was looking at me. Waiting. Hoping. "Please," his eyes said. "Please trust me." And in that moment, I made a choice. I stepped forward. The room fell silent immediately. Not because I shouted. Because I didn't. Everyone was waiting to see me break. To scream. To cry. To run. I did none of those things. I walked past my mother, past my sister, past Rachel, and my father, and everyone else who had already decided Daniel was guilty. I stopped directly in front of the woman. She looked at me with fake sympathy. "Clara, I'm so sorry." "You don't need to be sorry," I said. My voice was quiet, calm, but something in it made her stop talking. She blinked. "What?" I said, "You don't need to be sorry." I tilted my head slightly. "You just need to answer one question." The room leaned in. I could feel 40 pairs of eyes on me. The woman forced a smile. "Of course. Anything." "Good," I said. "You claim you've been married to my husband for 3 years, correct?" "Yes," she said quickly. "I have proof." "I'm not asking for proof." I cut her off. "I'm asking if you know him." "Of course I know him. He's my—" "Then answer this." I stepped closer. Our faces were inches apart now. "What is his daily ritual? The one thing he never misses. The one thing he's done every single day since I've known him." She hesitated. Just for a second. But I saw it. "Everyone has routines," she said nervously. He likes to go out at night. To clubs. Bars. That's not true," I said quietly. She stopped talking. "My husband," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "has never been to a club in his life. He hates crowds. He hates noise. Every single day for the past 10 years, he spends 30 minutes alone in our backyard, sitting under the oak tree, drinking coffee and watching the birds." I looked around the room. My mother's eyes widened. "That's his ritual," I continued. "Not bars. Not clubs. Not secret meetings with another woman. Coffee. Silence. The oak tree." I turned back to the woman. Her face had gone pale. "Any real wife would know that," I said. "Any real wife would have seen him do it 1,000 times. But you didn't. Because you're not his wife. You've never even met him." She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. "One more question," I said. "What's the name of the scar on his left hand? The one from the accident when he was 12. She stared at me. Blink. Terrified. "His friends call it his lightning bolt because of the shape," I said. "He's had it for 23 years. Any real wife would have asked about it. Any real wife would have traced her fingers over it in the dark." I paused. "You don't know, do you?" The room was dead silent. Then the woman's face crumbled. She started crying. Real tears this time. Not the performed kind from before. Her whole body shook. "Please," she whispered. "Please don't call the police." "Then tell me the truth," I said. "Who are you? And who sent you?" She looked up at me, her face wet and broken. I needed money. I'm pregnant. The father left me. I have nothing. No family. No savings. No. Who sent you?" I repeated. She hesitated. Then her hand lifted. Slowly. Shaking. And she pointed. Everyone turned. Standing near the dessert table, halfway to the door, like he was about to leave, was Marcus. Daniel's business partner. His best friend for 12 years. The man who had hugged me when I arrived and said, "You look beautiful today, Clara." His face went white. "Marcus?" Daniel's voice was barely a whisper. Marcus didn't answer. He turned toward the door. "Stop him," someone shouted. 2 of Daniel's cousins blocked the exit. Marcus froze. His hands were shaking. "Explain," Daniel said. His voice wasn't confused anymore. It was cold. Deadly calm. "Right now." "Explain." Marcus looked at the floor. Then at Daniel. Then back at the floor. "You had everything," he finally said. His voice was quiet at first, then grew louder. Angrier. "You had the business. The money. The perfect wife. The perfect life. And I had nothing. So you tried to destroy me?" Daniel stepped closer. "You tried to take my family?" "I wanted you to lose," Marcus spat. "Just once. I wanted to see you lose everything the way I lost everything." The room was silent again. "But you didn't lose," Marcus whispered. His voice broke. "She believed you. Even with all my proof, she believed you." He looked at me. "How?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Daniel turned to his cousins. "Get him out of my house. Out of my business. Out of my life." They grabbed Marcus by the arms. He didn't fight. He just hung his head and let them drag him toward the door. The pregnant woman was still crying on the floor. "I'm sorry," she kept saying. "I'm so sorry. I just needed the money." I looked at her for a long moment. Then I said, "Get up." She looked at me confused. "Get up and leave," I said. "And don't ever come near my family again." She scrambled to her feet and ran out the door. The room stayed quiet for a long time after they left. Then my mother started crying. "I'm so sorry," she said, rushing toward Daniel. I believed her. I actually believed her. Then my father. Then Emma. Then Rachel. One by one, they apologized. But Daniel didn't say anything. He just stood there, looking at me. Finally, he walked over. His eyes were red. His hands were shaking. "You believe me," he said. It wasn't a question. It was wonder. Like he couldn't quite believe it himself. "Of course I believed you," I said. "But the proof," he started. I didn't need proof. I took his hands. "I had you. I had 10 years. I had a porch swing and a stupid story about a scar and a man who drinks coffee under an oak tree every single morning." His face crumpled. He pulled me into his arms and held me so tight I could barely breathe. "I thought I was going to lose you," he whispered into my hair. "I thought, when she showed those photos, I thought you'd believe her." I almost did, I admitted. For a second. Maybe two. He pulled back and looked at me. "What changed?" I smiled. "I remembered something you told me a long time ago." "What?" "That betrayal isn't tempting when you really love someone. It's impossible." He stared at me. Then he started laughing. Not a happy laugh exactly. A relieved one. The kind of laugh that comes after you've been holding your breath for 15 minutes and finally remember how to exhale. "I meant it," he said. "Every word." "I know," I said. The party didn't continue after that. Guests slowly trickled out, still whispering, still shaking their heads. My mother packed up the cake. Emma gathered the gifts. Rachel hugged me twice before she left. And when everyone was gone, Daniel and I sat on the back porch. He made coffee. 2 cups. We sat under the oak tree, watching the sunset, my hand on my stomach, his hand on mine. "We're going to be okay," he said. I leaned my head on his shoulder. "I know. Because some storms don't break you. They show you who's really standing beside you when the wind is the strongest." And I learned something that day. Trust isn't believing someone when it's easy. Trust is believing someone when the whole world is telling you not to.